Check out our website. It's foxnews.com. You're watching the most powerful name in news. I'm Ainsley Earhart. See you in an hour.
At some point in the near future, the media, the stooges from the New York Times, CBS, the Clinton Broadcasting System, NBC, the Nobody But Clinton Network, the All Bill Clinton Channel, ABC, and the Clinton News Network at some point is going to peel the bark off Barack Hussein Obama. Why don't you talk to his mother and father, recent departed, God bless and God rest their souls. His parents called him Barack Hussein Obama, not me.
All right, those were the very eloquent comments of radio talk show host Bill Cunningham made yesterday at a McCain rally in Cincinnati, and later that night on our program, his use of Obama's middle name has prompted debate about whether its usage is fair game. With us now, radio talk show host Bill Cunningham and Fox News contributor Bob Beckel. Bill, I know you're very entertaining as a talk show host, and your reaction is, well, that's his real name. Of course, last night I pointed out you also called him Barack Mohammed Hussein Obama on radio, but which you, of course, don't deny. But let's talk about intent here. Your intent is not simply to honor his parents who called him that, but to suggest that because his name is Hussein, it has an implication that will not sit well with a certain factor of the population. And that's what it's all about.
Well, Alan Combs, let me tell you my intent. Instead of you speculating in the dark, let me give you the facts. Some of the great presidents in American history where Obama wants to be: John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Ronald Wilson Reagan, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of your heroes, Ronald Wilson. How about Jefferson Clinton? How about Hillary Rodham Clinton? I gave him 3 proper names, elevating him to almost the presidency. In fact, isn't your middle name Youssef? Alan Youssef Combs?
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny, very hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking you. I'm honored
my middle name
to
is
call
Samuel.
him
If you'd
by
like
his
to use
name.
Alan Samuel Combs, that's my middle name. But the truth is, you're disingenuous to act like your intent is to honor him when you know you're playing on the fears of people who hear the word Hussein and don't particularly like the way that sounds. Bob Beckel, you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I mean, I believe it or not, I have followed this gentleman's radio career. He's got a huge audience. And what is everybody so surprised at? I mean, the guy, if you're going to invite him to go and stir up a crowd, you do not expect a lecture on the Marquis de Queensberry rules. I mean, this is not what Mr. Cunningham is about. Look, the fact that these people were surprised, it gets me. It's amazing. Now, Bill, why does Bill use his middle name, Hussein? Are we kidding ourselves? We understand why, but that's okay. That's what he does. I mean, that's his business.
But you don't use John McCain. Why don't you use John Sidney McCain?
You know something?
Bill,
we're all talking about him. I'm getting tired of talking about Cunningham. This is 3 days in a row now. Come on.
But Bill, if middle names are so important, why don't you use them for all the candidates? Why just Barack?
Alan, I have used John Sidney McCain III, and no Australians have been angry at all. His middle name is Sidney. What is wrong with the name given to him by his parents?
I haven't heard you use it.
I've used John Sidney McCain III. I've used those names.
By the way, Bill, what is your middle name? I want to use it from now on.
My middle name is Daniel.
What is it?
William Daniel Cunningham.
All right, William Daniel Cunningham. We'll be using that from now on.
The bigotry is with people like you who take offense at the proper legal name of a candidate that you want to keep it secret.
You're being disingenuous about what your true intent is.
No, you're the one, Alan.
So don't blame it on me.
You want to keep it quiet and secret.
When you are not being straight about what your real angle is and why you're actually doing it.
Straight as an arrow, because I'm using it to give the man credit for 3 proper names, like John Fitzgerald Kennedy is not a knock on the Irish.
William Daniel Cunningham, welcome back to the program, sir. You're a great American.
I am a great American.
Let's go back, though. He made a great point, Bob Beckel. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Richard Milhous Nixon, Ronald Wilson Reagan, William Jefferson Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton, George Herbert Walker Bush, George W. Bush. I mean, you're just making an assumption here. Almost all of the presidents, we use their middle names. It's an accurate term. It's the name his parents gave him. Why is there this reaction to this?
Oh, well, let me play right along and say, gee, you're exactly right. Now, Sean doesn't have a middle name, I find out, so
That's
it's
correct.
Sean.
And if I did, I'm not telling you.
I have a middle name. Now, Daniel is a nice middle name for Bill. You know, Daniel Boone. I mean, there's there's a famous guy, and he's famous. Look, who are we kidding? I didn't fall off the turnpike last night. I'm not falling into this game. I will say this. Does anybody wonder what it would be like to have dinner with Alan Combs and Bill Cunningham. Does anybody think what that would be like?
Costs too much money.
It would be, it would be disastrous. Nobody would have their silverware.
Bill Cunningham, let me ask you a serious question. We just had on the architect, Karl Rove, and Senator McCain denounced your comments, even though he wasn't there when you made them, even though his staff, you said last night on this program, they asked you to go out and pump up the crowd.
Joe Dieters did.
All right.
Joe Dieters.
Joe Dieters, okay. Now, but here's what Karl Rove said. He said by using the name Barack Hussein Obama, that it would perpetuate the notion that Republicans were bigoted and that it would hurt the party. How do you respond to the architect?
It perpetuates the notion that the accurate name should be used, and that when you're in a state like Ohio, Sean, this is a bare-knuckle battleground state. We're used to fighting in the pit in Ohio. Maybe in Arizona you don't. Maybe in New York you don't, because New York is certainly a blue state. Arizona is a red state. But in Ohio, we're used to fighting with knives and guns for elections. And so here you got McCain coming here, and he wants to play by the pussycat rules that don't work in Ohio.
Before we get Bob Beckel back in, you said you're now going to support Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Absolutely.
Bill Cunningham, I am challenging you right now that you are not going to support, when push comes to shove, I will bet you a dinner at your restaurant, that you are not, Willie's, that you are not going to pull the lever for Hillary Rodham Clinton, and I'll bet you any amount of money you want to bet right here.
Can I have 20 seconds to respond?
Yes.
Here's the deal. In 1976, if Ford became the president, Reagan never would have happened. I say now, a Clinton or an Obama will usher in 20 years of Reagan conservatism.
Wait a minute. So that means, but this means that Iraq gets turned over to Al-Qaeda and Ahmadinejad because both are going to retreat. This means you may have, at the end